Good morning, everyone. I'm Dr. Uchi from Peking University Cancer Hospital Endoscopic Center. Thanks for the invitation of the Congress and thanks for the introduced by the chairman. Today, I want to talk the topic earlier screening for gastric cancer in China. I will introduce this topic with following three aspects. Firstly, the epidemiology in China. As we know, the age standardized incidence rate for gastric cancer is highest in Eastern Asia with 32.5 per 100,000 in male and 13.2 in female. In China, the date is even higher. It's 47.4 in male and 15.8 in female. Besides, despite a rapid growth from 1970s to 1990s, in the past 30 years, the burden of gastric cancer mortality slowly declined in China. However, almost half of the estimated deaths from gastric cancer occurred in China. There are two distinct features of gastric cancer. Firstly, the incidence of gastric cancer in urban areas have been far below the level in rural areas. Second, there is substantial geographic variation in mortality within the country. However, with the elevated rate was seen in the northern and central province in China. As we all know, China is a quite large country. We must face to the main challenges in reducing mortality and morbidity of gastric cancer. The first one is a large and aging population. The second is regional difference in mortality and morbidity. The third is insufficient public awareness of earlier screening. The second part, I will put emphasis on how we act to determine etiological factor and preventing methods of gastric cancer in China. Over more than 30 years ago, epidemiologists from our hospital launched a series of programming to elucidate risk factor and effective intervention method of gastric cancer. Linqu, the annual age-adjusted mortality were 70 per 100,000 among males and 25 among females, nearly double level of the national. During that time, there had been no clear evidence between the occurrence of gastric cancer and HPV infection. In the first phase from 1989 to 1994, a study involving around 2,060 adults revealed that over 77% residency in Linqu County had been infected by HPV. Prospective studies have demonstrated an 80% increased risk of developing dysplasia or gastric cancer in those infected with HPV. Then, in the second phase, a target study on etiological intervention in high incidence area of gastric cancer was set up in 1995, and after 15 years follow-up, eradication of HP were confirmed to reduce 39% risk of gastric cancer. In addition, even for old adults and people with cancerous conditions, gastric cancer risk can still be reduced by eradication (HPE). One extended follow-up period to 22 years, we also noticed that eradication of HPE can not only reduce the incidence rate of gastric cancer, but also significantly reduce the mortality of gastric cancer. Then, these findings serve as very important indications for WTO to develop HPE education strengths for preventing gastric cancer. Professor Yu in our hospital was invited to participate in development of this guideline. And from 2009 to now, we began a new intervention trial in Linqu country. The trial will promote a more solid data to evaluate the full range of benefit and adverse consequences of strength for gastric cancer prevention by eradication of HPE. The, the final results will be uncovered in near future. In the last section, I will briefly introduce the current applied earlier screening strategy of gastric cancer in China. Except in areas with high incidence of gastric cancer, the proportion of HPE positive population is too large to routinely screen. Besides, no HPE related gastric cancer may be missed. Thus, in the new guideline, in addition to HPE detection, international experience have been taken into. For example, no invasive serological screening, especially PG method, has the advantage of high efficiency, low cost, good compliance, and simple operation, and can be used in a large-scale screening. Now, it has been widely used in screening of gastric cancer and precancerous lesion in many countries, like Japan, South Korea, Finland, Norway, and other countries. So now two-step procedures including general pre-screening by serological screening and diagnostic screening by gastroscope is widely accepted in China. In the guideline, high-risk population was identified as over 40 years old and with one of the following situations such as HPE infection, family history, and others. Then, a serological measurement contained PG1, PG2, G70, and HPE detection will be recommended. People with abnormal serological results were further subjected to standardized gastroscope screening. As we know, this step can improve the detection rate of early gastric cancer, but will no more reduce the incidence rate of gastric cancer. Here, I want to thank for the Japanese endoscopists. Many of them help the Chinese doctors hand by hand. In summary, the key to earlier screening of gastric cancer is active prevention and intervention, thus optimizing and standarding detection objects and methods will help strengthen the earlier screening population more accurate. At last but not least, the training of professional technicians as well as multidisciplinary discussion with academic research will contribute to the further development of gastric cancer screening in China. Thank you.